Blood is a type of connective tissue since it's made up of a number of cells working together to perform a task. The liquid portion of the blood is a yellowish fluid called plasma. Plasma makes up just over half of your blood. The remaining portion of blood is made up of cells: red blood cells, white blood cells, and platelets. Red blood cells are shaped like tiny red inner tubes and contain hemoglobin, a protein complex containing iron that binds oxygen and carbon dioxide. It is hemoglobin that gives red blood cells the ability to carry oxygen and carbon dioxide around the body. White blood cells are responsible for fighting disease and infections. They act for your immunity. An antigen is any substance that is capable of stimulating an immune response in the body. For example, viruses and bacteria contain molecules that act as antigens. When your body is exposed to an antigen, lymphocytes, called B cells, produce antibodies. These antibodies bind to the antigen and help to destroy them. T cells, another type of lymphocyte, also attack antigens, and other white blood cells help by engulfing invaders through a process called phagocytosis. Both B and T cells can multiply to create memory cells that can recognize an antigen immediately if the body is exposed again. Memory cells allow the body to react quickly to invaders and gives you immunity to them. Vaccinations are based on the ability of memory cells to recognize invaders. Vaccines are actually weakened or dead versions of diseases that stimulate the production of antibodies necessary to fight the disease. Vaccines allow your body to become immune to diseases without ever having to experience the symptoms of the disease. Platelets are the component of blood that functions in clotting when there is an injury. Activated platelets become sticky, so they adhere to the site of the wound and trap red blood cells to form a scab. All humans have one of 4 different blood types: A, B, AB, or O. Type A blood is so named because it has an antigen on the red blood cells referred to as A antigen. Remember that an antigen is anything that can cause an immune response in the body, so even human cells have antigens that could trigger an immune response. Type B blood has the B antigen on the red blood cells. The antigens on type B blood would cause an immune response in someone with type A blood because they have an anti-B antibody in their plasma. Any type B blood cells in a person with type A blood would be destroyed by the anti-B antibody. Similarly, the antigens on type A blood would cause an immune response in someone with type B blood because they have an anti-A antibody. The anti-A antibody would destroy any type A blood cells. I'm sure that at this point you're beginning to see why it is so important to match a person's blood type during a blood transfusion. Receiving the wrong blood type could mean death for the recipient because the blood would clot in their vessels. Blood type AB has both A and B antigens and no antibodies in their plasma. This means they could receive blood from any donor. Type AB is therefore called the universal recipient. Blood type O has no antigens present on the surface of the red blood cells. This means any of the blood types could receive type O during a transfusion without an immune response occurring. That's why type O blood is called the universal donor. Type O does, however, have anti-A and anti-B antibodies in their plasma, so they can only receive type O blood. Type A type B, or type AB would all cause an immune response in a person with type O blood. Another factor in determining blood type is the Rh factor. The Rh factor is another antigen that could be present on the red blood cells. If your red blood cells have the Rh antigen, your blood is referred to as Rh positive. If your red blood cells lack the antigen, you are said to be Rh negative and have antibodies against the Rh positive blood. If a person with Rh negative blood receives a transfusion from a person with Rh positive blood, the blood would clot and the patient would die. The Rh factor also has indications for pregnancy. If an Rh negative mother is carrying an Rh positive baby, the mother's antibodies could attack the baby's blood, which could result in a miscarriage. When this type of Rh incompatibility occurs, the mother must receive injections to prevent a miscarriage. The fluid from the plasma in the blood diffuses out of the capillaries to bathe the cells of the body. This fluid that cells are surrounded by is called intercellular fluid and serves as a medium for materials to diffuse into and out of the cells. Lymph capillaries lie between the cells and take in the intracellular fluid. Lymph capillaries are part of the lymphatic system, a sort of accessory circulatory system that functions in immunity. Once the intracellular fluid enters the lymph capillaries, the fluid is called lymph. The lymphatic system uses muscle contractions to pump the lymph upward through lymph nodes that filter out viruses, bacteria, and other disease-causing organisms. The filtered lymph continues its journey upward, where the lymph is poured back into the circulatory system through the lymph ducts that empty into the two large veins in the neck. Together, the blood, circulatory system, and lymphatic system accomplish the life activity of transport and help the body to remain healthy.